Kadoosh. Oh, good. Come on. Ding, ding. Got it. Mm-hmm. Come on. Come on. Welcome to Choose Rich Live. We're discussing, well, every single day, actually 3 times a week, but maybe we should switch it to daily. Who knows what the hell is going to happen? We're talking about finance. We're talking about technology. We're talking about AI and crypto. And holy cow. Also, we're talking about that board right down there, which has had Lucky Jack up for a bit. I adjusted the price was too high. Just like the rent is too damn high if you're living in New York City. We discussed Lucky Jack on Monday. Discussing it again today would be outrageous, but I have been playing the game, actually. It is pretty good, Ray. I do think that the AI is quite challenging. I've lost regularly, but the game is a cool concept, and it elevates blackjack to this. It just adds another layer. And I thought it was pretty fun. The thing that I was going to say separately, holy cow, let's pull up Korea's stock market, can we? I mean, that's like, Ray, can't hear you. You're muted. But
pulling up the Kospi.
Okay, thank you very much. Enhance it. The situation over there is not good. Is that it? Did it bounce?
Zooming out.
Oh my God.
Here's the daily.
This is the daily. That ain't a pretty picture. I think it's down, what, 40% off the top?
92 to 56.
92 to 56. I got to
on the
switch
1
out.
month. We're down 33% on 1 month.
That is, we're down what is it?
33% in the month of July.
That's crazy, dude. That's absolutely bonkers.
This looks like a meme coin chart that rugged.
Yeah, I mean, that's like an insane situation. I have these puts. Oh, they're now worthless. I bought $1,300 worth of them as insurance. They're up today, but I mean, this is not up 40% today, actually. Holy cow. I feel like I haven't figured out the proper way to acquire insurance via puts. Short-term puts have the most volatility, and out-of-the-money puts really are great. But what I've been trying to just protect is against the price dropping substantially. But when you get far out, there's a lot of time value built into it that makes it overly priced. And I think what you're ultimately going for is like swings. So I almost feel like I should be buying like weekly puts or something that are like out of the money. That's my general thought. Before we dive into the news stories, Ray, we do this on every show. We say a prayer. So let's do the daily prayer, Ray. Just kidding. Well,
I was ready for it.
Now that you have me on screen. Lord Ansem, bless us. Bless our bags. Drive us into the bull market. You big, beautiful black bull.
Amen.
We're major supporters. We've seen volatility out in these choppy waters. Being a trader is challenging to navigate. An investor is difficult to navigate when you see the volatility. When your own token experiences 50, 60, 70% pullbacks, drawdowns, it questions your faith and forces you to, we search for a leader, for guidance, for someone to help us navigate what's otherwise potentially dark times, to tell us, no, don't sell. Brighter times are ahead. Ignore what you're seeing on the charts. This isn't a bear market. It's a bull market. And it is you, fearless leader, oh Lord Ansem, who helps us navigate that. So please, Lord Ansem, bring us positive energy into this market and help pump our bags, help bring back NFTs, make NFTs great again, make meme coins great again, and help guide us, prevent us from selling. There he is, our fearless Lord and Savior, Ansem. Amen.
It's a good prayer. Good job.
Thank you. Let's
I feel ready.
Let's pull up TradingView that I have on here.
Yep. Give me a sec.
Oh, Sean Park brought up Zeus's Law. Sounds like he has watched one of the greatest movies, The Odyssey. I'm assuming, Ray, you haven't had time to see it.
I have not. Was it good?
Yeah, I saw it with Easy and his lover.
Did you see it in like any kind of special like theater, or was it like normal cinema? It's like a normal movie
Watched
theater.
it in IMAX.
Do you think that's the preferred method of watching it? Like, should I make a point to get out in the theaters, or can I just watch it at home?
You can just watch it. The IMAX that we saw was not on the 70 millimeter or whatever the formatting is that they have, which made it like less interesting.
I mean, could you even watch the movie at that point?
It was difficult. I did throw my popcorn on the ground in disappointment. Okay.
I don't blame you.
So let's take a look at these charts here. Look at the one that I'm looking at here, Robinhood. Ouchie, ouchie. Maybe we should say Fauci, ouchie. Man's invoking the Fifth Amendment. What's going on? What was that about? Why did he do that?
Wasn't there something about like his diary or something was like getting exposed? I don't know the story. I just know that he's been a focal point for the COVID stuff.
Oh, he is a focal point. Yo, your boy Nick O'Neill is down 25%
On Robinhood?
on his Micron. This is the most interesting one, actually. If you this gap was filled, but if we close this gap, I'm I'll probably double down. I mean, I don't care that I'm down this amount. I think a lot of the other stocks are questionable. Looks like we almost bounced off of this. Yo, hold on one second. Let me just do this real quick.
I mean, people wanted an entry into the AI trade, and if you believe in it, there's an entry right now on Micron.
I think that Micron is one of the most interesting. We saw this bounce. Oh my God. Look at where the gap on Intel.
Speaking of Robinhood, I went to log in just to check my positions. I got a notification on my phone. Earn an estimated 7% APY through lending USDG on chain. This is the consumer Robinhood app that sent me this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna do a little teeny trade. I'm gonna buy a little bit of Mu. I'm in for another. Call it. I'm gonna buy another 2 shares. And should I buy 2 or should I buy 1, Ray? Do we think it'll drop more? I feel like it just bounced. I'm buying 2. So I bought Mu, Bobang, Kading, Kazamo Blamo. It looks like Micron, I am on that position. Oh, so I have them across both. So Micron, I own them in another position where I'm down 20%. That's all good though.
I just bought a couple shares too. I'm joining you.
SanDisk is getting slaughtered, but the problem is with SanDisk, their PE ratio is like super high. Now they're obviously consumers, so there's a lot of people who are interested in buying SanDisk. But their PE ratio is 35. They're coming into within like interesting territory here. They're off of 2370. I mean, that I almost want to just add 1. Crypto Geek News asked if interest rates were announced. No, they will be announced at 2 p.m. The other trade, okay, IBM looks like it's got, last night took it L, but tonight it bounced back. Damn, it did a nice bounce back. Look at that. Off at 200. I don't like IBM personally. Like it's not an interesting business to me, like in the sense that I don't understand it, actually, maybe a better way of saying it. I don't understand IBM. Do you know much about this company? I mean, I know the history of it. It's got a PE of 20.
I don't know what their biggest revenue generators are, how much they depend on AI, how much they benefit from AI.
They'd been building a decent amount of AI tools. And I mean, look, they've been at this level since 2024. This chart is actually like, this goes back, Ray. Look at this. Like where this bottom part is. I mean, this is like 2024. This actually feels like also potential, like, I don't know, like I feel like I missed the bottom on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the middle of summer. I think there's a lot of hesitancy to invest right now. We could be seeing rate hikes. We don't know what the House and Senate are going to look like in a couple months. Markets don't like uncertainty. This could be the opportunity to jump in and maybe see some V-shaped recoveries on some of these stocks that were overbought coming into the summer.
I mean, Oracle back to where it was 2024. What?
I tweeted about this one the other day. Look at TJX. Look at TJ Maxx's stock.
I saw your tweet.
On the yearly. Every year, greens for like 16 straight years.
Is it TJX Companies?
Yeah, TJX.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen anything like this? It's basically like the S&P, but better.
What is their PE? 31. This is crazy. Their financials, I like looking at the financials. It looks like it's pretty crazy. So they have revenue of 2026, 60 billion. Last year was 56 billion. And their net income was 4.86 billion. How does this compare to like Costco?
Costco's pretty good too.
I guess they've been flat. Dude, you may have found like the all-time best. So Costco's ticker is, what was it? Cost.
It's flat. Costco's flattened over the last 2 years, but was pretty much up only for a while.
Look at that. I mean, that's crazy. Woo! That is incredible. That's a phenomenal stock.
Costco, since 2009, has only had 2 years in the red.
Their PE is at 50, whereas Costco's at 30, or TJ Maxx is at 30. There's a dividend on TJ Maxx of 1.23%, and well, Costco's is lower. Other ones, when you talk about boring stocks, one that I look at oftentimes is like AT&T. Dude, look at how long this thing has been in this range. Like, hold on, let me switch from daily. Let's go to monthly. Look how long it's been in this range. I mean,
it's like a bond.
since 1994. It's ranged between 16 and 32. And they're a dividend stock. Their dividend is 4.5%. So I think the interesting place right now, they're up here. Obviously, like if you were to buy the dividend stock, you'd kind of want to be like operating somewhere in this range. And I don't know that I'd want to buy it in the middle. But if they end up back down at some point, which it looks like they have since 1995, 1, 2, 3, 4 times they've given you an opportunity to buy around 15. Their dividend, though, what I'd actually look at is what their annual dividend amount has been, because that really would give you, like, they probably have increased it over time. I don't know what their chart is. We can like find that out. But
I'm looking at it.
the
It looks
other
like
one,
it was higher in 2019 to 2021. It was almost double what it was in 2022.
really. Here's another one. Another boring one would be Verizon, which is like, I mean, dude, as recently as, okay, so this was 2023. I mean, actually, this one looks, Verizon, wow, you just missed, we missed an opportunity to get it at 42. It's at 48. The yield on Verizon is 6%. That's crazy. I mean, this kind of looks like one that you'd maybe want to pick up over AT&T. You have stock appreciation that's like slow and steady. What I'd be interested in, like, what is the comparison of like the S&P? So I'd be like VZ over VZ over SPY. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a dividend, but you're just losing money to inflation.
Yeah. I wonder what it would look like if you had rebought during that entire time. Like if you took the dividend and bought. But that actually shows you the impact of the dilution that like a dividend does.
You would take an AT&T or a Verizon over a Stretch at $88 right now?
No, because Stretch is not. No, I still like my Stretch.
I think I agree.
Stretch at 13% is interesting. So we got Bitcoin. Let's pull up the Bitcoin chart and let's just discuss kind of where we're at right now. I'm looking at the monthly, and this is like on the fractals that I have here. It's basically followed approximately, like the monthly doesn't do this justice. Let's actually do like the daily for this. This has been like spot on. And this like argument that we're in a bull market is hilarious. There is like nothing indicating. That said, we just slightly did a higher high. Just slightly. Well, actually, hold on. The real question is, did the candle?
I don't think the wick. I don't think the wick did.
So it looks like 68,876. No, we didn't. We couldn't even get a higher high.
My fractal had us going lower, breaking down below the 60K level, whereas we had this little rally. But if you draw a channel from,
well, I have us breaking down eventually.
Yeah.
So I have us going down to 55. I like this 54, 55 level that I have. And then you get 2027, things get interesting. When is the halving?
Next year? Or no, that'd be 2028.
2028, dude.
It's every election year.
2028. Is 2028 an election year?
Presidential election year.
Let's go.
Sometime between April 13th and April 24th of 2028.
So ETH still can't, like, I mean, everyone's like acting like ETH is having a bullish moment right now. This is like, I mean, it's tough to look at this chart and say things are bullish. Being honest. Pump Fun at a, quote, bullish unlock. Remember that narrative that happened?
Yeah, conveniently right after Ansem decided to revive the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you look at this, it was a bullish unlock.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing.
No. I also wasn't. Ray, we're on the same page. We have no beef right now. I just want to be clear, dude. We're on
No,
the
it's
same
okay.
page.
I mean, it's better when we have beef, I feel.
Probably. Shut the fuck up. So Meteora is one of the interesting ones in here that I've brought up. It's been like doing a nice little rebound here off of here. But the biggest thing is like, is it? This is an interesting swing one. I mean, could we see this back down at 13 cents? The other one that's being discussed, Hyperliquid. The real question is, where's the bottom on this? I'm debating it. I got some eggs that have come in, so I might eat some eggs during this stream. Get ready.
Midstream egg delivery.
My mom's in town visiting me.
Nice.
Have an egg.
Hard boiled.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a show if you weren't eating during it.
It wouldn't be a meeting if I wasn't. But anyways, so this is an interesting area for me. Beneath this, I mean, where are we looking at? We're looking at right here, 48.
I've had a wide LP open on Hype for a long time, between like $45 and $68. That has kind of just been in and out of generating fees.
The LP thing is it wrecked easy. In the sense
definitely can. Yeah, well, your LP fees are income.
Yeah.
Versus realized losses or gains. You got to factor that in.
Yeah. This is an interesting level. This is an interesting level. And beneath this, I mean, where are we looking? Beneath this, it's rough. But I mean, I feel like it's down somewhere around 40-ish, 42. So Hyperliquid is one that I think definitively people are like, why is it down? Buy it. The meme coins that we had, I mean, dude, Cash Cat, can I put that up on here?
I feel like there's like some vibe shift with Hyperliquid though. I feel like Lighter is taking the stage. I'm seeing more and more talk about like regulation fears with Hyperliquid in the US. Are they going to have to KYC? Are they going to have to leave the US? Are they going to have strict geo blocking? Or they're going to lose the US market? And I think that's all contributing to this downtrend right now, where there's just a lot of uncertainty. And then you bring in Robinhood, which is already like the trading platform in the US, expanding into crypto. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of question marks around Hyperliquid, whereas they weren't being asked at the highs.
That's true. One that is interesting actually is Zcash. I think Zcash is an interesting one to follow during this because I don't think it's really as much of a narrative one. I mean, there is a narrative element, but when they're quantum resistant, they could basically come out and say we're a quantum resistant Bitcoin. If I were to bet who's going to resolve their quantum cryptography stuff first, Zcash is the one that's going to do it before Bitcoin. And they can just come out and say it.
Yep. They just released that new Ironwood protocol yesterday as well. Yeah, that was their response. Remember when they had the exploit?
Yeah.
So they released a new shielded pool, the Ironwood. I believe it's called the Ironwood protocol. So that came out yesterday. And I think we're going to see some sort of like definitive answer on like how much was exploited or how little was exploited due to that bug they found.
Well, we'll find out. I do think I like Zcash. I have a decent amount in there. I have more Zcash than I have Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid, I actually, if I think about it, only have like a few grand of Hyperliquid that I'm holding. So we'll see where that's at. I think that someone said Zcash headband high says Zcash has been mined for 2.5 years at an insane rate. I wouldn't be buying that at all. Why is that a bad thing? Like, what does that mean? That there's too much supply that people have? I'd love the details on it. So please post a comment. A lot of audience members have mentioned Athena historically. So this is one that I've been looking at. But I don't own any of this. I don't even know where you can buy it. But I mean, some of these things are interesting, and just that they have these like bands of swinging between prices, where there may be like an opportunity. That's the thing. Like, man, Avalanche looks awful. I would not be buying that. Let's see how the Filecoin fuckheads are doing, and they are not doing well. Holy cannoli. Dude, look at this chart. Can you imagine anybody holding this? I mean, this is Filecoin. I remember I had Filecoin back when Choose
Was it
Rich.
$5? They said Filecoin wouldn't go back to $5. What's that now?
Hold on, let's see where it was then. March. So here it was. Yeah, I think maybe it was it was $6. It went down to $5. They said it wasn't a buy at $5. Quick alert, it was not a buy at $5. I wish I could pull that video up. I actually have a database with our archive of video content. I'd love to I need to put that on a web page. I'm gonna set up and like curate some of those, where it's just like my all-time favorite videos, where it's just like a throwback. Jupiter, Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum looks interesting at the $1,400 level. Some people, I mean, everyone was fading it to just talking shit about it's dead forever. The timeline is 100% driven by price. Let's dive into the news stories, Ray. I got suckered into the charts. That was fun. But let's
let's just cancel your screen share before I can transition away back to mine.
Ray. Okay. Well, this is our rapid fire segment. Anthropic's Claude Mythos preview cracked the post-quantum signature scheme Hawk in 60 hours, cutting its effective key strength in half, and separately delivered a 200 to 800 times faster attack on a 7-round version of AES encryption. Each result cost roughly $100,000 in API usage, and Anthropic says no production systems are currently at risk. Ray, explain the meaning of this to me.
So in 2022, U.S. government, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, put out a call for additional cryptographic systems that would remain secure even against quantum computers. One of these is called Hawk. So they're looking at Hawk as potential quantum encryption defense, and Claude ended up able to find weaknesses and exploit it in faster times. So maybe not so quantum resistant for that specific algorithm. And also it's getting faster at cracking current encryption algorithms like AES, which is used across many different applications right now. Like you said, very expensive. Like it was $100,000 of API credits to crack these. So you would need a valuable target, I imagine, but it shows you kind of the direction we're going with this AI, like cybersecurity issue.
I mean, 1,000%. Mythos has strong capabilities to hack, so you got to watch out. And additionally, eventually, I mean, the biggest thing that we were talking about was quantum resist. So if you can hack quantum, versus hack. Oh, I see what. So in this case, it was basically like people are saying that we're post-quantum secure, and Claude Mythos is basically able to crack what people are saying are post-quantum secure, correct?
Yeah, one of the algorithms, the Hawk algorithm, or the digital signature scheme called Hawk. they were able to like have an improved attack against it, and we're not in quantum yet. So maybe that's not going to be a quantum
resistant
candidate. Yeah,
solution.
yeah.
Very interesting. I wonder how that impacts, the fact that people are saying that they can be post-quantum requires a lot of like that. I feel like it's scientists, computer scientists, mathematicians that can like comment on this matter. Whereas like I can't read something and have any understanding of the implications of it and or like how whether or not this solution is a solid solution. It appears that like collective consensus is the approach to it, but we've seen a lot of things hacked, or at least there's been a lot of the math stuff taking place with different proofs being disproven by Claude and OpenAI. And it generally the approach is essentially prompting it to say, hey, can you try again? But keep going is how it's approached. Anyways, let's dive into the next model. Let's dive into the next story. The OpenAI rogue agent that hacked Hugging Face earlier this month also compromised a customer account at New York-based Modal Labs. Modal CTO Ashkat Bubna confirmed the customer had left an unauthenticated endpoint on the internet and says Modal's own platform was not breached. OpenAI has since confirmed the agent broke into 4 accounts across 4 separate services before being deactivated and encrypted. I mean, dude, the AIs are going rogue on us already. And we're going to have physical robots. They're going to telepathically communicate with the computer, right?
You froze for a second. You're back now.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I got you now.
Okay. I think I was still going, but I was discussing robots as well, but it was an unrelated tangent that didn't matter. I'm trying to get the Hugging Face CEO on the show.
That'd be great.
So let's dive into the next story. More than 1,178 employees across OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, and nearly a dozen other AI firms signed a letter called Pacing the Frontier, asking the U.S. government to support international tools to deliberately slow AI development if needed. Signatories include OpenAI chief scientist Yakub Pachoki, Anthropic CEOs Dario Amodei, and OpenAI's co-founder John Schulman. Both Anthropic and OpenAI officially endorsed the letter. I saw that trending on Tech Meme yesterday. Do you have kind of like a synopsis of what I think basically it was saying? I'm assuming it was saying don't ban open source stuff. But what else did this letter say?
Yeah, I mean, here's like a little blurb. To realize AI's potential, industry, government, and society at large may need an option to buy time to address emerging risks, develop security measures, and strengthen oversight. We request that the U.S. government support an international effort to develop the technical and governance tools needed to deliberately pace the frontier of automated AI development.
What you just gave me was an introduction to what we just discussed, and what I need is the bullets for what is being delivered by this proposal. What are the high-level bullets?
I think it's a lot of fluff, and it's saying like, hey, we need to be developing these frameworks, because we don't have much time.
So they're calling on the government to develop the frameworks,
yes,
in coordination with the Frontier Labs.
Yes.
There we go. Well, rather than doing it in the approach that they've been doing it behind closed doors. And Mark Zuckerberg made posted in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, right? And I believe in that conversation, he was essentially alluding to something similar. And more of what he was discussing is saying that frontier models need to be in the hands of the masses. Open source is the way that that's going to happen. He's repeatedly been an advocate for open source. However, so far, they haven't been able to even catch up and compete with the other open source models, which on benchmarks, which effectively have been distilled models. It's debatable whether or not like those systems in China are actually building frontier models or they're just distilling the existing ones, but they are rolling out open source models. I almost wonder if those companies are distilling ones, why doesn't Facebook just distill them also and get into a legal battle with Anthropic? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not just do it? Anthropic's out basically. I don't know if you saw that news story the other day, but they're basically out there buying books, burning the books of like the remaining book, the last remaining book, scanning them, putting them into their model, and keeping them proprietary.
I saw that. I did see that.
That's a pretty wild thing.
Well, Zuckerberg wouldn't steal any ideas like from the Winklevoss twins or anything, so he wouldn't steal AI models as well.
Yeah. Let's dive into the next news story. Security researchers have published a proof of concept showing that document-borne AI worms can self-propagate through Microsoft Copilot for Word. The attack works by embedding a malicious prompt in a document, which Copilot copies into new documents it drafts, spreading the payload through ordinary document workflows. Microsoft confirmed the behavior in March and began mitigation work, though researchers have since reproduced the attack using updated prompt techniques. In additional news, Ray, there's a worm that was found to be able to self-propagate through my butt.
This one's kind of scary. Maybe as scary as the butt worm. But people are hiding like white text in documents that's like giving the AI instructions if you like look at that document. And then like if you generate anything from that, it's also embedding that worm in whatever you create. So like they reproduce it by like showing it like using like a financial report, and they're like, yeah, just like lower the financial report numbers by 50% for X, Y, and Z, and then do that for like any future reports. And it follows along and then embeds that same prompt for the next person who like pulls this into AI.
I like it. I like
love it.
I like
love AI worms
through my Word documents. This is an interesting story. Frankly, I'm not very good with security stuff. That's not a specialty of mine. However, it's fascinating to know that Microsoft, I think really what this story is about is just that a lot of these technology companies may arguably be haphazardly implementing AI across their products because there's a race for AI adoption. And as a result, there's security consequences. And one of those is this particular worm that's sneaking its way into your family members and into your children's butts. Let's dive into the next story. Apple briefly crossed a $5 trillion market cap on Tuesday, becoming only the second company in history to hit that threshold after NVIDIA shares touched $343 earlier today. And Apple's up roughly 25% this year, while NVIDIA has gained only about 4 to 6% over the same stretch. Look, the AI trade is imploding, and Apple is exploding, man, in a positive way. I think a lot of people think that maybe Apple was the smartest trade here. They didn't get sucked in to a lot of the AI hoopla, and they're going to end up implementing some of this stuff via software and essentially ride the coattails of all of these other different companies as the technology normalizes and the costs come down. And so a lot of people are bullish on Apple. The real thing that I'm wondering about here, though, I'm pissed that I didn't participate in Apple. I did a tweet yesterday that frankly went viral, but for being so stupid, where I said if you invested $100,000 last month, you'd have $2 million today. People were really pissed about that one. The PE on Apple right now is 41. I think Apple has a lot of headwinds though against it at the moment. Only in the sense that like what products are they rolling out? But the biggest thing that you're buying into is maybe the new CEO. And maybe they can fix some of the software snafus that they've been having. Like, dude, the iMessage product has sucked or has like not evolved. The phone, I'm still getting spam things, and I turned on the spam defense and it's not doing shit. Those are two key products. I think they continue to evolve the camera. I think where there's a real opportunity is to evolve the UI to build for basically where they could introduce new products that I think would actually, I think would maybe follow in the footsteps of Apple Watch in a weird way, where if you could build essentially smart devices that are compressed for people that want to detox and not have games and all these other things. I genuinely think that that may be one of the biggest opportunities. And it could cannibalize their phone. But I think what you're seeing, and like I want to get their like flip phone that they come out with, but what you're seeing is a progression of the iPad into becoming a laptop, a progression of the phone becoming an iPad. And then I think what you need to have happen is what happens to like what fills the gap of what would have been a condensed phone. I think what happens is we see a progression of the Apple Watch become a smart device, basically, like which was the early phone. And so I think that that's actually where we're headed. And that opens up a new category. Basically, they end up with a double watch situation where you end up with, it cannibalizes the iPad in some ways, but it expands the market to where iPads, like there ends up being some sort of like distinction. My mom, for example, replaced her laptop with an iPad. I bought her an iPad, and that's what she uses for her laptop. And then there's pro users like myself, I'm sure yourself, where they would like have a laptop that they want to use for like coding AI, things like that. And then there's a cohort of people that want a laptop that's used for gaming. We've seen things like I was chatting with Easy when I was visiting him, where I think there's like portable gaming devices. And if you look at like Nintendo Switch, there's other like the Android. Well, there could be an Android equivalent. Yeah, Steam Deck and the PC version of these things, but they're like pretty big. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like it doesn't make for good. What you would eventually do is you'd have like it propped up. So you want one where the case tilts it, and then you can take the handles off and turn into like a Bluetooth controller is probably what you're using. Because like if you wanted to play, what's the car game that I play?
Forza?
No. Well, Forza would be one of them, would be a pro one. Forza, the best one, you would probably want like a true simulator. But the one with the soccer ball.
Oh, Rocket League.
Yeah, Rocket League. I love Rocket League. And that would be like, I would probably buy it to play Forza, Rocket League. Forza I'd want on the simulator, but it'd be cool. Maybe I'd have like a flight simulator, but I really want like a flight game would probably be one where I fight. Like I get bored of the simulator and just be like, yo, let's like shoot shit. And so that would be like more.
I feel like we need to do like weekly team building Rocket League matches.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Just do some brainstorming and some Rocket League at the same time.
We should go ahead.
Do you see Alex Finn's device? He repurposed into an AI device.
Yeah, I've seen him buy that. He tried to do it with the glasses. It didn't work as much. I love that he's experimenting with this stuff, and it puts him in this like hardware sort of hybrid thing. So yeah, I think that's like kind of a weird place. I don't know why I would want this particular device.
Yeah, it's like you want to code with AI, but you don't want to use your phone because you want a keyboard, but then you don't want a real laptop. It's like a weird wedge.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of interesting wedges in the market. I just think like I think Apple is probably the one that I would look to in terms of how that's structured and how I think that like these things will be monetized in the future, or like where the categories of devices will exist. Apple hasn't done gaming, so that's one potential category for them to enter. Microsoft had to like refactor their entire thing, so they like avoided a portion of all of that. And I think that there may be some like interesting opportunities where they could like prioritize for AI devices and gaming devices.
I think it's as simple as saying like if you're betting on what the biggest consumer device will be to interact with AI, who's making that? If you're making that bet today, I'm going to bet it's Apple, and I think that device specifically is going to have a larger market than any other consumer device we've seen before.
Yeah. And I think what would be interesting is there's some hybrid between where, like I was saying, with the Apple Watch moving to like a new iPhone is like the place to do it. The real thing.
You don't think the glasses form factor is the future at all? Or like
I do. I just think that we're a long ways away from that, primarily because you're on the curve of power efficiency, and we haven't seen large leaps and bounds on that front. And so instead, what you've done is you've made a bunch of sacrifices with these devices in order to make that jump. And I think like if you were to buy some of these things, there's a lot of cool AR devices and things like that I think are super cool. And I think that is the future, but we need power efficiency gains to take place. So yeah, I don't know. I think we will get there, but like an Apple Watch Ultra can make it through the day. A slightly larger version of that, I think, is very interesting. It connects to cellular, so it has some of that functionality. I think there would be an opportunity for them to make a version of it where like you have, like there's some gaps right now in the Apple Watch where I think them transitioning to a device that is like slightly more compact, or even a foldable version of this iPhone, like of this size, which compacts and just fits in my pocket, I think would be interesting. I just don't want all of the apps on those like particular like there's a lot of apps that are in there. It's not about a big screen. I think it's people that are going to want a reduced screen format, but delivers a lot of these, the functionality. And there's just this like sacrifice that you have to make right now. And so for them to make a condensed format, which I actually look at, like if you look at Samsung, the Flip, where there's like a front screen on it, I think that could become like the format, like just that size, this little like square-based version. You can take phones, you have Bluetooth headphones plugged into it. You could have AI conversations with it. You can plug it in your car, but you're not drawn into the gaming and some of these addictive things. It's essentially a way to like exclude social media, but just have like the messaging form on it. Like if you want to have a conversation, great, you can have a conversation on it. But like you're not consuming all the social media stuff.
Going back to the flip phone roots, my brother-in-law has a flip phone. He is a prepper, doesn't ascribe to having any technology, privacy maxi, physical gold, ammo, all of that. And he has a flip phone, which I always like think is funny.
I think Anthropic's actually kind of at the forefront of some of the interfaces where this is occurring, where they have these, what do they call it? Hold on, let me check out what they call these things. The artifacts. So I think the artifacts thing is actually like super interesting. And I think that we have like an opportunity. We should make a scene like this where you're on it. And we can chat about it. But I think that there's an opportunity, or you pull up like a story on these things. But Anthropic, the artifacts is a cool interface where I think they're figuring out a way where they can present those artifacts in a like mobile way. So they're evolving on it. And I think that essentially that artifact interface is something that will eventually occur. And I think essentially what happens is chat and conversation enriched by these artifacts where the platform has the ability to deliver them is a very cool thing. Because you could have a conversation and you could say, hey, give me my Instagram messages. And it gives you your Instagram messages in an artifact. And I thought that Facebook Messenger back in the day, because Facebook, I was like, look, their mobile has not, They haven't like they weren't going to build an iPhone like competitor. They didn't Apple or Google ended up operating at that size, but Facebook really, I think, could be an example of one of those things. And I think, but they consistently missed the mark. They went down the VR platform. What I think really, they didn't make the incremental interface. And I think that's the biggest gap. iPad was an incremental interface from iPhone. The VR thing is just a leap and bound, which is a huge jump. I think that there's an incremental Apple Watch is an incremental thing, is a different category, to be clear. But there's huge demand to say, get me off of social media, give me a smartphone that gives me the functionality that I want, and give me the distribution that I need. And the biggest problem is there's not enough people, there's not enough demand for smart Apple Watch apps that's like a blocker right now. But I think that future device does have an opportunity, and I think that that's where we're headed.
I think that it's not. I think the future is more artifact based than app based. And talking about the watches in that way, like the ecosystem becomes much richer as an end user because you're not relying on developers to give you what you need. You can basically create what you need, or source what you need from the community.
I think it goes back and forth because the reality is AI is not good with innovation when it comes to UI stuff. And so that's where I think we run into some of these problems, is that like, how do you get that downstream distribution, and how do you like also make sure, like if I had the Uber interface, you're not going to go and rebuild Uber. Like you don't need to go and rebuild Uber. But I would like the ability to talk with my chat bot and say, go call, like place an Uber for me. And it just does it. I don't need to be in the Uber app. But Uber wants to add all these different features. Great. Book me a helicopter. Go get me delivery from something. Add all that infrastructure and charge me the fee for it. Like do all those things. It doesn't matter. Like I think the interface were a lot of the iPhone space that we ended up with and the web space that we've ended up with is really built around like the companies wanting to really own the UI, but give companies the ability to own the UI, but enable them to do that via these artifacts, via these distribution channels. And I think that that's something that we're on the verge of. And that's the biggest threat. Frankly, like if you think about mobile apps and stuff like that, I'm doing a lot of productivity inside of Claude and ChatGPT. When I'm driving, that's where I'm interacting. And I think that there's the ability to get distribution via those channels. And so that's where we're headed. Anyways, I know you got to leave momentarily here. How quickly do you got to go?
I've got about 5 minutes.
Okay. So 2 rapid fire ones. You want to pull up the Moonshot AI one? And then we'll dive into the, so real quick, Moonshot AI closed a $3.5 billion funding round at $35 billion valuation, blowing past its original target of $1 to $2 billion. The Beijing startup, which makes the Kimi chatbot and recently released the Kimi K3 model at 2.8 trillion parameters, is now approaching investors for a follow-on round at a $50 billion pre-money valuation ahead of a planned Hong Kong IPO as soon as this year. I think we discussed this the other day.
We talked about the K3 model and seeing a ton of solid benchmarks for an open weight model.
$3.5 billion in funding is pretty wild. I don't have a lot to add to that. Let's dive into the last thing. The FOMC is set to release their July rate decision shortly at 2 p.m. Eastern today. Markets have pulled back ahead of the news, with prediction markets pricing in a 27% chance of a rate hike. I actually think that they could do a shocker of a rate hike, which would be actually really, really great.
You get a 4x on Polymarket right now.
Yeah, I think also having call options, like you'd see just a market absolutely dump on that news, but it would quell inflation. I think his decision, I think the way that the market is reacting right now is anticipatory of a combination of things. It's anticipating the rate hike and or running into the Iran reality, which is becoming a quagmire, and which is also simultaneously into absorbing the Korean market sell-off, basically, which is impacting all of these chip companies, which I actually don't think is representative of the chip companies not having fundamentals. I think the biggest thing associated with this is not the fundamentals, but it actually is about the it's Korea's leverage. And so that's what we ran into, and I think that's what's impacting all these things and sort of being justified and described as the great unwind. I would take a look at what is Samsung's stock doing, because I think Samsung has become 40% of that index.
Not great.
Yeah, so we've seen this pullback from 360 down to 200. This is really interesting. Like, if there's one thing that I'm walking away with here, Samsung.
Buy Samsung.
Yeah, I actually think that would be the most interesting thing. Is there a way to get access to Samsung without buying internationally? How does it trade?
It's on I believe it says it's on like the Korean Stock Exchange. I'm gonna see what Robinhood offers.
Does Hyperliquid let you trade it?
I don't know.
They do. They have it trading at $148. And what is the current price that it's trading at? Is it 148?
I mean, we're in Korean won. Hold on, let me switch to US dollars. 142.
Okay, so it's at a slight premium. This might be an interesting one to DCA into. It was down at 100 back in March, or 115, 108, somewhere in that range. Look how high Samsung is compared to 2021, 2024.
I get nervous about these on perps networks, especially when it's an internationally traded stock. I mean, there is $72 million of open interest on this, but I'd worry about like potentially some of that open interest pooling and then you getting wicked out and liquidated. So I'd trade something like this on like a 1x leverage as opposed to levering up on something like Samsung and Hyperliquid.
Wow. Actually, they were as low as 53,000 back in December 2024. All right. Well, everyone was buying Samsung. Yeah, this may be a harder one. All right. Maybe we wait. I mean, dude, if you look at the chart, look at this chart. This is crazy. Look at this thing.
I'm going to move you on, and I actually have to hop. So,
all right.
Good show. And I'll see you. Continue to kill it.
Thanks for supporting. We got the interest rate news coming out at 2 o'clock. I actually don't think it's going to be right at 2. So he's going to be going live. So I'm not going to stay through the entire thing. But look at this chart. This is crazy. 60,000 Korean won bumping up to going up 600%, over 600% at 374,000, which is a wild position to be in. Lost access to X. All right, well, it appears that we actually ended, so I'm going to wrap this show because we disconnected from X somehow. Thanks for joining Choose Rich Live. Unfortunately, the show literally terminated on X, so I'm going to have to wrap it. I'll see you Friday for another live episode of Choose Rich Live.